a body like this. It has the overall shape. It has a hole cut out from the top. And then at the bottom of the hole, we were drawing the shapes that the people fit in. The reason why I actually like these cars is all the main skills, the main basic skills for CAD, they exist in each of the parts for this car. And one of those skills is using constraints to make complex things simple and efficiently. So drawing these shapes is a part of that. You're going to see that in our next shape. So as a reminder,
sorry. Have a good day, Tim.
You too, my dude.
You lost one.
It might be for the best. So as a reminder, you should be going back into a sketch to edit it. So like we did these 3 shapes on one sketch, you should be going back into that sketch. Don't make a new sketch, okay? All 4 shapes should be in the same sketch.
Mine aren't. Is that a bad thing?
It is.
Do you run out of sketches?
Huh? I mean, they should all be on one sketch. I mean, do what I do, and it works. I don't know what to tell you.
You change the dimension. So
We're going to make the star. Now, how many sides does a star have?
6.
Okay, it's got 5 points. What shape has 5 sides?
Pentagon.
So we're actually going to start off drawing a pentagon. Believe it or not. That's actually what we're going to start off by doing. So the way to do this is right here. There's the inscribed polygon. Okay, we're going to click on that again. And it's a 3-step process. You click to place the center. You click to kind of approximately place the size. When you do this click, make sure you don't have any snap to constraints. Like if I do this, it's already snapping to make that horizontal. We don't want that. Okay, so just make sure your cursor's off at a weird angle so that it doesn't try to snap to any weird constraints. Second click makes the size, and then the third click, you move your mouse in and out, and that changes the number of sides. How many sides do we want? 5. Easy. So we have a pentagon. It should look like this. I should be able to move the pentagon. I should be able to spin the pentagon.
How do you do that?
Should be able to move it. Okay, the pentagon should be free like the antelope.
Wait, how did you move it?
I click on it. I click and drag. Are we ready to move on? Get a pentagon drawn. Should be done. You're just drawing a pentagon. Well, the computer does it for you. You don't even really have to draw it. The computer does it for you. Yes, yeah. Okay, well, there's a stream, so you can follow the stream. It's the DVR type, so you can go back and look at it if you're behind. Moving on. If I look at my star, so I got my piece arranged so that the star's in the bottom left corner. Okay? And you just need to trust me on this. I'm showing you a way to do this. You got to trust me on this. I want a flat part of the pentagon to be aligned horizontally. And I want that to be on the bottom. So I'm going to go to my constraints here. This is right next to the dimension button are the constraints. And I'm going to click the drop down arrow. And I'm going to choose horizontal. Which constraint am I choosing? Okay, horizontal. And the line that I'm making horizontal is this bottom edge. Okay? I'm making this bottom edge horizontal. All right? If you look at the star, there's a point that points straight down. If you're looking at your shapes exactly oriented like that, there's a point on the star pointing straight down. Are we good? Yes, yeah. And so I want a flat part just like that. Okay? I want the flat part on the bottom, just like there's a point on the star pointing down. Are we good so far?
Sure.
Well, what do we need? If you need help, you can bring your Chromebook up here. That has not changed.
Jonathan, can I just adopt my kids and just get a smart car?
Can you what?
Adopt the kids inside and get a smart
Can
car.
you adopt the kids?
You have more kids. Oh, no.
I thought you had. Don't you have like a family of 8 in that thing?
Yes.
How is that not enough?
What's that?
I mean, if you apply a horizontal constraint, it's going to rotate it.
Who's changing it?
Well,
Gone.
when you made it,
No, what happened to the kids?
you already had a constraint applied then when you made it. I'm going to assume. I don't see any constraints though, other than this one.
Wait, we sent it to a storm. Yeah.
So when you placed it, like I can move it. It seems just fine. I can do that.
I just know how to turn it, like, so the point is like there's.
So if you make it and you automatically apply a constraint on accident, the solution is to just redraw it. But I'm going to apply this horizontal constraint to this. And that's telling me you already had some constraints. So literally just like it doesn't take that long to redraw, right? So just redraw it and make sure you don't get any snap to constraints while drawing it. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to make a recommendation that you make this a size that's not like too big. Okay? So I actually changed the size by grabbing the circle. And I'm going to make it about that size. So if you grab the circle part of it and you click and drag, that's how you resize it. Okay? And I made it about that size. We good?
What size? Oh, that's
About that size.
got it.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here, okay? I want all the points to be the same, right? I want them all to be the same size. I want them all to be symmetric. I want them all to be the same size. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to use a little trick here. I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to start with the circle
Perfect, but it's gonna.
centered with where the pentagon's centered. And this circle is going to be about yay big. So when I drew this circle so that it starts and is the same size, sorry, it has the same center as the pentagon, and I made it bigger than the pentagon.
Got it.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the line tool. Which tool?
The line.
And I'm going to draw the points, and watch how I do this. I click on a corner of the pentagon. I go to the circle. Go to a corner. And I just do that 5 times. Make sure you don't accidentally apply like a vertical constraint or a horizontal constraint or something like that while drawing it. Okay? So right here. Okay? Right here. If you look very carefully. I have not clicked the place yet, but I got my cursor there, and it's automatically trying to apply a horizontal constraint to line this point up with this. I don't want that. So when you're sketching, make sure that if it's automatically snapping to something, you deliberately move it so that it's like not doing that. All right? The only constraint you should see is that symbol I have right now. It's called a coincident constraint. What that means is you're putting the end of the line on the circle. We do want that constraint, but that is it. You don't want any vertical lines, horizontal lines, perpendicular or parallel symbols. Okay? We don't want any of that nonsense. You will notice while I'm doing this,
It doesn't have to be perfect, right?
no. You will notice that mine look far from perfect. In fact, I'm almost doing that on purpose because I do not want any snap to horizontal or vertical or parallel or perpendicular constraints applied. What?
Why is it not just a star shape?
It's really not a very common shape, to be honest. I want to say there isn't like an add-on in some CAD software somewhere, you know, but it's honestly not actually a very common shape. Now, what constraint might I use to make all of these points the same size? The equal constraint would help. So once I have it drawn, it looks ugly, but it's drawn, right? Things are positioned correctly. They're just not perfect, okay? I can go to the constraints, and I can go to the equal constraint. Now, there's two different ways you can do this. I'll tell you what you cannot do, okay? You cannot over-constrain this. You cannot make A equal to B, and B equal to C, and C equal to A. That would be an over-constraint. You can make B equal to A, and C equal to A. You can make B equal to A and C equal to B. But you can't do B equals A, B equals C, A equals C. It's going to be over-constrained. So a way to do this is you click on, say, this one, and you make it equal to this one. And then the next constraint is this one equal to this one. And the next is this one equal to this one. And you just keep going. Then this one equal to this one. And then this one equal to this one. And then this one equal to this one. This is a way to do it. And then this one equal to this one. And then this one equal to this one. And then this one equal to this one. And then finally, this one's probably going to throw me an error. No, maybe not. Well, this one will then. Really? Oh my God, the Orchard Farm Wi-Fi is lagging out of its mind.
Is the Wi-Fi gonna be better than your school? It should be way better, right? 'Cause it's at the
I don't really know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if it will or not.
It's gonna be closer.
But as you finish that process, you're gonna definitely get a star. It looked like this. What?
I need help.
Which thing?
How'd you make it star?
Yeah, I only drew.
So we can't wait to sit bench tomorrow or Friday.
I'll be there.
You gonna be there?
Have you applied any equal constraints?
Yeah.
Okay, well then it's a star. So why does it not look like a star? Just because of relative sizing.
Start like right now.
I mean, assuming you did everything right,
Probably.
I should be able to grab. Oh, hold on. I gotta hit escape to get out of the constraint mode. Like, see how I can resize this circle? So like I can make that part smaller, and then I can make that part bigger. I think you have an extra constraint though that's locking them together. Because if you look at mine, well, actually it is scaling it.
Oh my gas.
When you dimension it, you'll be able to change the relative size of the big to this smaller circle.
So this is right.
It might be. I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it right now. But like you should be able to, once you dimension it, you should be able to make the inside and outside different sizes. And if you can, then it's fine. And if you can't, then there's an issue. You have some constraint that shouldn't be there.
Okay, so you just leave it alone for now.
I would just leave it alone for right now. I would just leave it alone for right now.
This guy had like 8.
All right. Now we gotta dimension it. Okay? So take your calipers and take the person with a star bottom.
Wait, what?
Take a person with a star bottom. Put the star in the calipers. Now, I don't know about you, but when I measured this star, the only way I can get it to fit well in the calipers is a dimension that goes, I'm going to draw a line. Do not actually draw this line. But like it goes from like a point to like here-ish. Kind of like up in between those 2 points. So I'm going to place the line.
I got 4.6.
But that vertical line that I placed, you can kind of see there.
What do you think?
This vertical line is kind of what I'm actually measuring. Don't actually draw that. Don't actually draw that.
Oh, man.
Don't actually draw that. But like that's like the calipers basically are touching 1 point on one side and 2 points on the other side. Yes, yeah.
I'm ready for that.
Okay. So that's where I got dimension. So how am I going to do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the dimension tool and watch what I do here. I'm going to click on this bottom point, and then I'm going to click on one of the upper points, and then I'm going to go off to the side, and it should be perfectly vertical, the dimension. If you're too close, it'll be an angle. We don't want that. That's not what we actually measured. You go off to the side, and it's vertical, and you can get the actual number. Oh, Lord have
Okay,
mercy.
so you do the top right point to the bottom point.
You can do the bottom to either the tops. Literally irrelevant which top, it doesn't matter. But then you take the dimension off to the side.
13.8.
Okay, I got a little bit more than 15. I'm going to go with 15.2. Okay? And that got the overall size of my like outer circle, basically. What I need to do now is I need to get some other measurement that indicates how big like the points are, or like the inner pentagon. And so there's different ways you can do that. But a way is to take your calipers, all right, and measure the distance between 2 points, like that. I'm going to indicate what I'm measuring up here. If you watch my measurement, I'm measuring the distance between these 2 points.
There.
Okay? And that is the next number that we need.
4 minutes. Okay.
All right? So for me, it was about 10. Maybe 9.9. I'm going to do 9.9. Now, if it poops on you like this, don't feel bad.
Don't go back.
I said, if it poops on you like this, don't feel bad.
I feel bad.
You feel bad?
Oh, it gave me an error. What I do? You know what? Mine's good enough. I already dimensioned everything. So. Yeah. I just measured how big the things are. You know, you go like this. Wait, can you help me? And you measure how big it is. I got 4 point.
What is that?
Then you put 5 there, and then you really have to do extra work. Chat, what's going on? What the hell am I doing? Fuck.
I'm still trying to draw a line.
Take me out.
Okay, you got a circle up here. No way. I got poop. There's so much more room.
Another thing that you can do, and this is I'm pretty sure what I did last year, is you can actually try to measure the width of a point. Take your teeth and go into like the crevices. So this, basically this distance right here. You can measure like the width of a point. Okay? Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's what I did last year.
Yours goes in.
Yeah.
Inverted. Mine's 0.
Mine's about 6.
Yeah, this is Ben's.
I think I applied too many equal constraints.
This is mine on the good day. And on a bad day, we're like that. Mine on a bad day is like this,
What are you going off on about?
It's negative 200. If you get it, then if you today we're at
Why is yours all red?
positive 60.
I know it's supposed to be.
We're talking about the measure. Caliber.
As a general rule, no, you do not want it red.
To get back to 0. Yeah. No. Gustavo as good at robotics.
You talking to my main man Goose?
Yes. I'm gonna start that.
Let's see.
What you talking to Goose for?
Goose has some sick music. It's actually so fun.
My man Goose, though, he's pretty legit. I don't know.
Failing robotics.
Is he failing? No.
Is Nathan passing robotics?
Yes, Nathan is.
Oh my gosh, is he really?
Nathan actually does work.
He says he hates it.
Who, Nathan?
Yeah. He said he's gonna watch YouTube. Yeah, he said he was gonna watch YouTube on class.
You're trolling.
Like he said he did it last time too. I see you right now.
He actually works. I'm like actually being serious.
I did it.
He actually builds his robot and does things. What was that? 15.
Can we still go out in the hallway and talk more?
Can I still what now?
Can we still like go out in the hallway if we need to?
Yeah. I need to go talk to someone.
He goes back to his girlfriend's birthday. It's his girlfriend's birthday today. Yeah, man.
Texas.
Tim. It's Ryan's girlfriend's birthday today.
Who are you talking about?
Ryan. It's Ryan's girlfriend's birthday today. Ryan's girlfriend Texas. Maddie's soon your girl. It's Ryan's girl's birthday tomorrow. Oh, it is? She's 12. She said she was 12.
She's actually turning 13.
She said she's turning 14.
It's 7th grade.
She's actually turning 14. Ryan, did you say you like an 8th grader? Why are you moving your tongue like that? Tydos is crazy. Isn't he like serious about it? Rose actually possessed fish. Possessed fish. I don't know what outside. Right, sometimes I think you have a disability. I do have a disability. Dude. I don't want to go to Eli, but Eli is so lame. Yeah, who could try that?
Okay. This is what I'm doing, and it works. So, probably the best dimension, and this is what I remember doing last year, is you want a height like this. Okay? For sure. That's a very easy thing to actually measure the calipers. It's a very precise thing. Not quite as precise, but still fairly easy to measure, is like the width of 1 point. Okay? And it works. For me, it works.
Is it from point to point, like from the...
Like, go into the crevices in between the points. Like, in between... You're measuring the width of a point, basically. Okay?
It's 6, correct?
I put 6.
Mine's still that red.
So, one thing that I did that was helpful, and you might find this helpful as well, is when I did my equal constraints, I made, gentlemen, hush, I made the 2 points, like parts of a point, equal to each other, but I didn't constrain anything on this point relative to any other point. So like, these two are equal to each other. 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 These two are equal to each other, and that's all I did. I didn't like try and do anything else.
Mikey sent me a chat. You trying to send me?
Okay?
Why are you on the phone?
That's what I did. That's what I'm going to stick with. The last thing we need to do is actually place our star. So one thing that I would say is reasonable is that the center of this star is going to line up with the center of the circle. So what constraint would we use so that the center of the circle lines up with the center of the star? Well, not horizontal.
Are we gonna ever like?
Vertical would make a lot more sense because they're vertically aligned. So you go to vertical and you click on the center of the circle and then you click on the center of the star. Okay?
Vertical.
Now, if you look at the triangle and the star, I don't know if those are aligned horizontally, but it's conceivable they are. So you could do a horizontal constraint and line up the center of the triangle with the star. And now the star is locked into place. So I actually never dimensioned where the star is. I just used constraints. We good?
I got a bunch of red ones.
Yes, sir.
Get off that.
As a general thing, okay? As a general thing,
Oh, we're good.
if you have red, that means just like over constraint, which means you're trying to mention something that's already predetermined. Like it has no choice but to be the dimension it is, and that number doesn't match the number you want it to be. So there's like other constraints that are forced to stand. So my recommendation is if you're pretty sure it shouldn't be the case, you probably have a constraint accidentally applied. So you can technically select everything and look at all the constraints and like delete them one at a time. That's tedious. I actually find it faster to just literally redraw it. It doesn't take usually that long to redraw whatever you're doing. Okay? Instead of hunting down the extra constraint. We are done. Click the green check mark. What would we do?
Quit.
What would be the next thing then?
Oh,
We have those four shapes drawn.
Wait, Chad, if I delete the circle and the octagon and the
Extrude. That's
I didn't delete it. What?
you want me to like delete the circle on the
Yeah, I
on
don't want to do that.
on the
Huh?
outside?
Same process.
Wait, do you want to delete the circle?
Yeah, on the outside.
No. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you an issue of this, but you do not want to delete that circle because that circle is part of like what we use to make it.
But don't you have to
That circle is what makes all of these points the same distance away.
do we have to delete though?
Mine looks pretty cool.
I can hear what you're saying. People, guys, you gotta. I can't even hear what he's asking.
Do we have to delete the circle?
No. Do not delete the circle. Just trust. So if we try to extrude this, click on extrude. Okay, when you go to like your star, you're gonna have to click on the pentagon, and you're gonna have to click on each point. Now that can get a little tedious. You also might notice that you could accidentally click the wrong regions, right? Like you could accidentally click that kind of pie slice looking thing. So something that you can do to help make that simpler, okay? Do you notice how the circle that came with the pentagon has like dashed lines to it? Do you see that? Okay? That is what's called a construction line. What is it called? The computer knows that the construction line is only there to help you construct the shape. The dark lines are called object lines. What are the dark lines called? Object lines. They're the only lines that are supposed to be part of your object. So here's my recommendation. Actually select the outer circle. What are we selecting?
The outer circle.
the outer circle. And right here, there is this. This is called the construction line thing. It's in between like a cube and the sketch fillet. Okay? And if you click on this, it will turn that circle to be dashed.
Wait a minute.
There's the buttons right there. It's in between the fillet, the sketch fillet button,
So we
and the
select
cube.
it and then
You got to be in this sketch to do that.
Oh, in a sketch.
You do have to. No, you have to be actually in that sketch. Don't make a new sketch.
And sketch 2.
Well, whatever you called it. Okay? But you can make something a construction line, and then it gets ignored for the purposes of like extrusions and stuff, which is very convenient.
Wait, so we click the dotted thing? Wait.
You select the circle, and then you click this button right here. And it should make it dotted. You can also, if you want, you can select the lines of the pentagon. You can select those 5 lines. And you can also make those construction. You do not have to do this, but the advantage in doing this is that when I go to extrude, literally one click, and I have my star selected. Literally one click. Because when it is looking at what things to select for extrusions, it only looks at the solid lines that are called object lines. It ignores the construction lines because, by definition, a construction line was only to help you construct the actual shape. Yes?
Why can't we just use the line tool and just make a solid?
You could do that. If you did that, though, you would have to use a bunch of constraints to make all of these points the same distance from the center, and then all of these inner points the same distance from the center.
So why don't you just make a circle and then use the line tool and just trace a star?
I mean, but that's what we did. But we have 2 circles. You have to have one for the outer points, and then you have to have something for the inner points. And the nice thing about a pentagon is the pentagon already has the distance between these crevices already the same because it's a pentagon. So, like, yeah, you could have drawn that, but then you would have to have placed a bunch of constraints and dimensioned a bunch of things like extra. Whereas, like, by just doing the pentagon and the circle, like, those already have those constraints actually, like, taken care of. Does this maybe make sense? Go do it with a lines. And you're going to have to place a ton of equal constraints. And you're going to have to dimension every single one of the 5 points separately to the same number. I can now go select my triangle, my circle, and my square. Use the whole depth thing on the bottom and find out how deep that plastic is.
It's 7. 7. Thanks, mate.
It's 7. I don't think that's correct, but I will let you do your thing.
I got 7.
7.4.
That does not seem right at all.
What'd you get? That's all I got.
But you do you.
What did you get? I got 7.
Jay, you got 8.3. Yes. I think that's
So I have my hole cutoffs.
It's good enough.
I have my hole cutoffs.
No, you don't do. Oh my gosh, you S1 stupid though.
I'm going to
Let me
rename
see the dang thing.
these things
You don't
shapes.
do that. No, you do. Oh my god.
You stole my.
Oh, yeah, you can do this.
Shapes.
It's 8.
Okay. We're going to be done with that part for now.
Chat, what did it do?
Okay? We are done with that part. So the next thing we're going to do is a wheel. Okay? So, take a wheel.
Chat, I got it.
Take a wheel. You can take the tire off. Take a wheel. We're going to do the wheel next. So that part's done for now. You should know how to make a new part. You click on the on shape thing in the top left corner. Go to create. Go to document. Make it wheel.
These Legos are
They're not Legos, bro.
They really are. Look, how did the ball?
They're not.
That's the Lego thing. You stick it in.
Bro, you
Making
trolling.
a new one, chat? What?
Make a new part called wheel.
Let's see what's work.
Create.
Oh, wait, we all stick
Okay.
wheels. Stop taking my coin, little boy.
Make a new part called wheel.
I'm guessing. Let me guess. Make a wheel.
Shockingly, yes, the part called wheel is going to be the wheel.
It is?
Yes.
I would never guess that.
Can I like run and grab a drink real quick?
Yeah.
We make people.
Better hurry.
Are we making the people?
Do you want to make the people?
Oh no.
No. But could you?
Can they be made? Yeah. Do you want to make them?
No.
I didn't think so.
Looks real hard.
They're not as bad as you think, but they're not simple.
Oh, it's going one on
Yeah, probably the way you do it is with a loft feature. Okay. In order to do the wheel, this is what you're going to do. We're going to make a sketch on the front plane. What are we doing? All right. Now, you're just going to have to trust me on this. Okay? We are going to start off with a rectangle.
This is a circle.
Gonna draw. Oh, just trust.
Oh my god. No, shut up.
We're gonna draw
Wait, you just took the wheel.
a rectangle like this, and then we're gonna draw another rectangle like this, and we're gonna draw another rectangle like this.
This is not.
Notice that none of those are on the origin. All of them are to the right of the origin and the y-axis. Okay? So I did line the bottoms up, but that is it. Don't even worry about the dimensions. Just use the rectangle, draw that shape. Looks like a upside down U or something.
Can't we just like make a circle and then extrude it and you're done?
No.
Oh my gosh.
That actually will not be easier.
I think we will.
You make a circle and
Clearly
extrude
not
it.
an
Won't be
engineer.
easier than.
How about you just do what I tell you?
Yeah, I did.
Because, like, I actually have a reason.
Your size is
Believe it or not. Now, before we're finished with this, I need you to draw a line
Can we change it to millimeters?
along the vertical axis. There needs to be a line here. Okay? There needs to be a line here.
I did.
It doesn't matter. It is actually irrelevant how long the line is, but it does need to be on the origin, and it does need to be perfectly vertical. The length does not matter.
You didn't know you could curve a. Oh my goodness.
And I want you to make that line a construction line. What type of line?
How do you make it construction?
You click on this button, this construction button. Okay? That line should be a construction line.
What's the line?
It's the button in between this cube and the fillet button.
I got it.
Now, with that construction line, we are going to actually use a new feature we have not used before. Okay? So you can get out of that sketch. Okay, get out of the sketch. Next to the extrude is the revolve feature. What is it called?
Revolve.
This is probably the second most commonly used 3D feature.
Don't even use it.
We're using it right now. Oh my, dude.
Kick him out. Kick him out.
So I'm going to click on revolve. What am I clicking on? It's right next to extrude. When you revolve something, you have to choose two things. Notice what is selected blue here in this dialog box. It says faces and sketch regions to revolve. While that is blue, you go and you click on your rectangles. Okay? That's what we're revolving. You should also notice that underneath that, it says revolve axis, and it's red. You have to separately choose the axis you're going to revolve around. What do you think we're going to choose for the axis? Take a guess. The what?
The circle.
There's no circle.
The lines that cross over.
The line that we drew right there. So click on revolve axis. Now it's blue. And you go choose revolve axis. It's going to be that construction line we drew.
Click on it.
And you pick that. And you can go. And it revolves it around. Okay? So we have the basis for a wheel. Now, when we come in class tomorrow,
Literally.
what we're going to do is we're going to actually draw that profile. That's what it's called. That profile to look more like the actual wheel. But you have to understand what that sketch represents, and I think having you do a revolve first helps. Okay? So this is a very powerful three-dimensional feature. And you can do certain things a lot easier with a revolve than you can with extrusions. Make sure you take your batteries out of your calipers and put your cars away.
I'm gonna need you to run that back next class.
Huh?
I need you to like run that back.
Well, we're going to redo the wheel.
I can help him because I did it.
Because you actually did it?
I actually did it.
What a stud. What a guy.